So I'm sure you guys have been feeling past month was amazing and great, and then all of a sudden this like a little bit of a vibrational shift comes in, a little bit of turbulence, right? And that little bit of turbulence is a kind of, you can say, going back, but it's not going back. I'm going to touch base on time. When you're asleep, meaning you're not awake and conscious of your reality, time goes one way. When you awake and you become conscious of things, now you are going in reverse in time. What does that mean? That means you're going and undoing everything that you have learned in this reality. You're going backwards in time to forget everything that you learned and restructure yourself. So you're actually going backwards in time. And going forward in time is when you're asleep. So you're just repeating the same patterns. Keep going and going, same patterns that your ancestors did. So through this whole process, we get to experience both present and future and past in the present moment. In the present moment. So Saturn is, everybody knows, is a great teacher. And a lot of people like, it's Saturn. Going back to the Judaic, they say Saturday is the day of Saturn. You're not supposed to do anything. This is the day where you rest. This is the day where you pray, you meditate, you connect to the divine. Why? Because this is the day that you actually meet duality. Saturn is actually a square representing the four sides, the four archangels, and representing the four sides of the man, the lion, the eagle, and the bull. So the four directions. And Saturn is a great teacher to show us where we need to shine more light. It really transforms the personality. It wants the personality to be fully transformed. So Saturn is connected to our hypothalamus gland. So it has an effect on that gland. And it also has a connection to the elemental kingdom. So those that took the workshop, and in the workshop, we worked with the chakra below the first chakra. It is the chakra of Saturn. That chakra system connects all chakras through the space of Saturn, to make sure that you let go of all the personality, to activate the Kundalini, to connect you to the Earth star and raise you into the astral body. So Saturn will present and give you a reflection of everything that your higher self needs you to acknowledge. And during this time period, you will feel like you're fighting and trying to shift everything that you can and use all your tools, but for some reason, it's not working. It is like you're fighting into mid-air and you're trying to move all this energy and you can't do it. But Saturn tells you, relax, surrender. This is the moment where you need to feel it, because it controls our lower centers of the senses. So you cannot force it. You cannot try to shift it, grasp it with your hands and move it. No, you have to just be in it. It is the spiral that is not going up or down. It is finding that neutrality. It is surrendering to it. Saturn also wants you to Find balance where you can stand straight in your alignment and know your worth, know your value, when to say yes and when to say no. Because we get too high up in our vibration and we don't know how to say no. It forces you to live authentically. So it shifts the personality to perceive through a higher mind. And all those strands of energies that flow through you, they need to anchor into your Earth star. So they have to go through the belt of Saturn. Saturn has over 33 moons. And we have only one moon here. So can you imagine how many emotions in one day you would go through? So we have the crown and the monad self. And all of those energies, everything, all the chakra systems above, all of it go down through the solar plexus, through your heart, right? Down through your root center. And they all have to go through the balance of Saturn. Geometrical shape is square. So it gets to reflect on everything. So just by having that understanding of what that vibration of Saturn represents to us, it already gives us an opportunity to work with it. So we have to learn how to dive with that energy and feel that energy. Every single planet has its own angel, has its own archetype, has its own sound, frequency, and vibration, has its own axis. I would love to actually put, that's the next course I have to put together, is about the planets and how I see them and how I work with them. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know much about astrology. I just know like the overall surface of things, but I can feel the vibration of these planets. So now that Saturn is going to go retrograde, this is a great opportunity to check in with the root center, because everything goes through the root. And I've mentioned before that the left side of our body is connected to the right side of our mind, which is connected to more the divine side. So this is where Saturn comes in, working with the left energies of the hip. So a lot of times you'll have a hip or sciatica problem, right? Joint problems. That is the Saturn trying to teach you something. That's letting you know, what pattern are you constantly repeating that the personality does not want to surrender. So pay attention to your first and second chakra, the senses, because we get so attached. It has a very strong magnetic field. And I can just feel, just talking to you guys, like everybody's first center right now is pulsating because everything is coming into that space. And what happens when we get everything and we feel everything is because last few months you went through acknowledgement. You brought everything up to the surface. You felt great. You felt illuminated. You were one with your source, one with God, one with your higher self. You were like, I achieved it. I've done it. That's it. I've reached the 10th level. Well, you reached the 10th level. You left few things out. Everything came up to the surface, and all that energy needs to transform. So what transforms it? The gland system and the endocrine system in the body needs to process it and send it into the earth. So this is the opportunity where Saturn goes retrograde. We get to slow down, see these patterns, acknowledge them, but you already been doing this work. So now it's going to become much more easier because now we're going to align ourselves with the vibration of Saturn. We're going to work with that planet. We're going to work with the angels that represent, the archetypes that represent that planet, in order to let it know that you acknowledge it, you're aware of it. And just becoming aware of it, your soul will do the rest. Your monad self will step in. The only reason it cannot step in is because you think you're in control. So through feeling it all, allowing it to process, allow it to be, and just breathing in deep, creating the space in the body as you breathe in and out will shift these dynamics that you've been working through. It will open up the mind, activate the glands, and the memories within those glands will transform into this crystalline light, where the fluorescent tube of light will activate. And when it activates, you're going to create that ascension process that you feel within yourself. But the ascension is actually descending into this reality. It's a mere image that you are ascending. We are bringing the light here. It's not going up there. It's bringing the 5D into this reality. And Saturn says, until you clear everything, until you acknowledge everything, until you recognize it, I will not leave you alone. And if you don't, I'll wait another cycle. He's a tough teacher, but he's a great teacher. So we know in Mecca, they walk around a square. It's a square in Mecca, and they walk around it in a circle. And why do they walk around in a circle? It's the spiral. It's the spiral of the planets and the belt, the Saturn's belt, that constantly is in motion. All those little particles are karmic patterns. Every single rock that's in that space has its own meaning and representation. It's not just appear there for no reason. It has the same frequency vibration around you. You also have these types of energetic belts around your field.